Hey folks, my name is Axel, and this is a great idea. No hesitation at all, 100% all the way. This is the best idea. So I'm sitting there with my favorite bottle of barbecue, and I'm thinking about what I want to do next. I came to the conclusion that I wanted to talk about Metroid Dread. So I started writing the script and came to the horrifying realization... Ah, fuck, I should probably actually play the game, huh? Now, some might say, well, why don't you just give us your thoughts on it? You don't have to play the game to tell us what you think about it. And to that I say, this is a review channel and I don't work for IGN. So I need something small to talk about while I wait to get and play Dread. But while I was waiting, I was playing random mobile games from my childhood, and I came across this, and then this, and I knew what needed to be done. I mean, it was either this or Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which I do actually plan on buying. The early 2010s were the time for mobile games, my friends. Now, when you hear the phrase mobile game, you probably think of something along the lines of those stupid tap-a-thon games with gross amounts of monetization and ads up the wazoo, and monetization to get rid of ads. Mobile games in recent years have become the scum of the gaming world. Lazy, uninteresting, free-to-play, pay-to-win, lackluster games. It's like the entirety of EA was concentrated into a genre. There is a reason why these games are made for your pocket and only to be played a little bit at a time. I'd argue that the stigma surrounding mobile games is part of the reason behind Apple Arcade. Most developers know that free-to-play games are what sells most on the App Store. But then again, if it's free, you need to monetize it to make a profit in some way. But Arcade is a subscription service, so the developers are paid by Apple to make games, so they can actually make games first and worry about money later. But it wasn't always like this. There was a time when mobile games could be respected without the help of the multi-trillion-dollar company. The iPhone released in 2007, and with it a clean $600 price tag. We all looked at it, thought, that's way too much, turned around, spoke to the time traveler, and decided to enjoy the privilege while it lasted. However, the App Store did not launch until later in 2008, and before the service even launched, the store already had hundreds of apps on it, a good chunk of them being totally free. Is it any wonder why this thing became so popular? iPhone apps are notoriously simple and fun to use. Even if you're a third-party developer and you set out with the sole intention of making the most complicated thing possible, you still won't end up with anything more complex than Stickman Hook. Cast your memory back, however, and you'll find that some of the more legacy mobile games came out a few years later, between 2009 and 2014. Fruit Ninja, Temple Run, Jetpack Joyride, Candy Crush Saga, Subway Surfers, Clash of Clans, Flappy Bird, Angry Bird, Minecraft? I know that it was a PC game first, I'm just making a point. One of my personal favorites was a game called Smash Hit, a game where you break glass with metal balls, which is just something you don't get to do often in real life. All of these games were kept in the back of our minds throughout our time growing up, possibly because of the pure nostalgia, or possibly because they were so addictive that we still want to play them even some 10 years later. They were all simple concepts executed perfectly in such a way that it made those games fun and repetitive. Just believe me, I was as shocked as you when I found that this shit was so popular, but then I actually played the game and I found out why it was so popular. It's because it was just a good time. Granted, that game crossed over 50 million downloads and the developer was so pissed that this was a success that he permanently deleted it off the App Store, but it was still a good time. And one of, in my opinion, the most interesting cases of these mobile games popping off is a game called Dumb Ways to Die. It's weird to think how popular this game was. There were YouTubers playing it on their iPads and getting millions. Dumb Ways to Die was released in 2012 and interestingly enough was used as a public service announcement. It was released by Metro Trains and was not actually a game at this point, but an animated music video. This thing was huge, garnering over 200 million views to this day and standing as a sort of cult classic. The point of the video was to promote safety around trains, stating that goofing off and being immature around trains was in fact among the dumbest ways to die. I don't know if it worked, but you can't deny that it got the message across. With a soft melody, funny lyrics, and colorful animation, this video appealed to almost everyone, including children, who at the very least probably understood that trains can be dangerous. Now, there's every possibility that this is wrong, or due to a number of other factors, but I read on the wiki that Metro trains reportedly saw a 30% decrease in train-related accidents after this video came out. So it was enough to take the concept further, and in 2013, Dumb Ways to Die was released on Android and iOS and was a goddamn home run. This game was ahead of its time, but not because of the game itself, but more because of the marketing. It relied on social media and internet influencers to popularize it, realizing that if, for example, a popular YouTuber said they liked the game, word would spread faster and more people would want to play. Well, gee golly gosh, where on earth have I heard that before? And they were right. This game popped off. Everyone I had ever met who owned a phone owned this game. Adults in a waiting room downloaded it right then and there just to give their kids something to do. You know, instead of like playing with them. The iPhone was revolutionary for childhood neglect. Okay, that's cool, it was popular, but what is the actual game, I hear you say? We're not saying that. Well, let's see. So we hop in and... The fuck am I looking at? The fuck is that? The fuck is this? Does this game always have ads? I have never even seen this before. I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia, but I don't remember half the things that this game employs. I don't remember your points giving you rewards outside of characters. I don't remember it being so hard to get characters. I don't remember daily challenges, and I certainly don't remember having so many unskippable ads. Was this game always like this? I could have sworn that it was just the game itself, and your points got you new characters. I mean, hell, I was a kid when this game came out, but a lot of these very annoying, grindy elements are things that modern mobile games implement. But I can't find anything online about this game having major updates over the years. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did manage to find some mentions of several updates throughout the years in one of the reviews on the comments of the store page. So that confirms my suspicion that this game was updated over the years to better fit with modern mobile games. I find that disappointing. This game was originally just a simple minigame collection. It was the perfect mobile game. There wasn't a thing wrong with it, and now there is. It's not a bad thing. Most games have flaws. It's just that this game didn't have many flaws, and now it stops watching ad every 3 minutes of gameplay. I timed it. You won't last longer than 3 minutes. But despite that, the game itself is still intact. Dumb Ways to Die is a touch-based minigame collection. The goal being to stop these little beings from dying in stupid ways, using tapping, swiping, and tilting to have the beans do certain things. If you do it right, the bean lives and you get points for it. If you do it wrong, the bean dies and you lose a life. You lose 3 lives and the game starts over from 0 points. The game gets faster as you go along, so the only goal is to endure and get as many points as possible, with new high scores getting you new characters in your train station after certain milestones. At least originally! The game has some really fun animation here, and a nice sense of visual humor. The characters never say anything, but the way they move and act is really comical. Watching these beans explode and get cut into pieces is so satisfying and funny that it's almost a tad concerning. Hey Axel, is there anything you want to do today? Arson? The updates over the years introduced some new things too, like more minigames, daily challenges, character creation, and more things to unlock through your points. And stupid ads. But that's Dumb Ways to Die. The ads make it pretty much unplayable, but it's still a good time. The game is free to play, but you can, if you want to, just shell out a little bit of money to get rid of the ads. The game's dog shit without it, so I don't know why you wouldn't just make it $2 and be done with it. The game is fine, I just don't like the way it was handled, mainly with how the updates over the years seem to mimic modern mobile games, which, need I remind you, aren't good anymore. But thankfully, Dumb Ways to Die ended on a high note and gracefully stepped down from its fame. What the f***? What is this? Since when is this game a series? I know they made a sequel, but no one ever talked about it, so I just assumed it flopped and they stopped making games after that. What's even going on with this game anyway? Dumb Ways to Die 2, The Games. Well, yeah, so this game crashes every time I try and play it. I genuinely couldn't tell you what's going on. It just crashes when you touch the screen. Is this a me thing? I don't think there's anything wrong with my phone. Like, when have you ever seen a mobile game crash before? I'm genuinely curious. This can't just be me. Alright, well, I guess since I can't play the game, I'll just go the IGN route and watch a few videos and tell you what I think. This is a sequel to Dumb Ways to Die. well, from what I can tell from it, it's just new minigames, new concepts, and a third thing. It really is just more Dumb Ways to Die. It has a focus on sports now, which is weird, seeing how it's a train safety game rather than a sports safety game. And that's not me saying that the game is different from the original safety message. No, it still claims to be a train safety game. It still has the message. It still has the pledge in the game saying that I solemnly swear to not do dumb things around trains. But it seems like the message should be don't do dumb things while playing sports. It's a good message, it certainly is. It just doesn't seem like that's what they were going for. Just like Dumb Ways 1, the game was updated over the years and apparently has the same amount of annoying ads. And apparently, this game is a tad glitchy. Wow. I would never have guessed. Okay, but despite that, I do still like this game. It does feel like a good follow-up to the original, just more of what made it great in the first place. Wish I could play it. Okay, it's fine, it's a good time, but what about all this? What is this? Dumb Ways to Draw? Dumb Ways to Dash? Dumb Ways to Die Superhero Edition? You'd have to be high. You know what? F it, we're in this deep. What about this one? Dumb Ways to Draw. So the point of this game is to draw lines and help the beans get the MacGuffins without dying. The game has multiple traps and other things that can interact with what you draw, and it's up to you to solve how to do it and in what way. There's always the option to go nuts and draw everything into an impenetrable force field, but the amount of stars you get in the level is determined by how much of your draw meter is used up for the solution. Not that it matters, because you can just watch ads to get the stars you missed, which is honestly just a new low. It has a certain appeal to it, seeing how simple it is, and the concept does open ways to some interesting puzzles, but this isn't anything amazing by any means. There are games like this on coolmath.com. The art is nice, so is the music. The puzzles are engaging enough that I was able to play for 5 minutes without stopping, but it's just not fun. This kind of thing is something you would see in a single minigame among the original. It feels like they just took one minigame idea that they didn't use and just spread it across the length of an entire mobile game. It's boring, it's cheap, and it's filled with ads. And it's fucking hard to read with this thing on. Okay, Dumb Ways to Dash. What's this one about? Oh, it's a racing game. Good. You hold forward to run and race against CPUs through an obstacle course. It does that super annoying thing that mobile games do, where it gives you CPUs based on other players' names, so it makes the game look like it's online. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I refuse to believe enough people exist in the world playing this game for a lobby to fill up this quickly. There are 5 players and 5 races. You run along a course, and the person in last place is eliminated for the next race. The goal is to be the last one standing. And that's it. That's the game. That's the game. Not a lot to talk about. It's almost as if doing videos on mobile puzzle games leads to a shortage on discussion topics. Fuck, they're on to me. There's a shop. And ads. Dumb Ways to Die Superhero Edition. Now, this one I'm excited about because I could guess what the other one's about. This one, I just have no idea. It's Dumb Ways to Dash again. Alright. Why are there 2 games with the exact same concept? No, literally. The only difference is the perspective. Instead of right behind you, the camera is farther away and in the corner, and it moves sometimes. 10 out of 10. Best game. Game Awards. Game of the Year edition. Halo? Persona? Fuck out of here. Dumb Ways to Die Superheroes has taken home more awards than The Last of Us Part 2. Alright. One more. Dumb Ways to Die World Tour. It's fine, but it doesn't feel like Dumb Ways to Die. So I actually play this game, so I'm pretty far in, so you're not just going to see the first reaction and some random clips from the 10 minutes I played. Dumb Ways to Die 3 is themed around traveling around the world in space for some reason. The way it works is that instead of points from the minigames, you get coins, which can be used to rebuild buildings in various places around the world that need rebuilding. Not only that, but the buildings you do repair generate coins, with smaller ones giving you less and bigger ones giving you more. So you have to ration out whether you want to fix a bunch of smaller buildings or save it for one of the big ones. I kinda like this approach because it gives the game a nice sense of progression. You can always see how many worlds there are, even if you haven't unlocked them yet, and you can always see how many buildings are left to rebuild. In any world that you have unlocked, you can always see how much coins you need to rebuild various things. Compare this to the first game and the second game, I think, the only thing you could get in those games is cosmetics. Yeah, you could attempt to get them all, but there's no way of knowing how much stuff is actually unlockable. In this game, there's an end in sight, which makes you want to play more. The game, much like its spin-offs, employs a 3D art style rather than a 2D animation, which I find odd, but the game still looks really good, and the devs did a good job making sure all the models are faithful to the original. There are ads, but it's pretty non-intrusive to the casual player. You can watch ads for extra stuff like rewards and achievements, but it's pretty barren. Or maybe not. I wouldn't know, because this was the point when I realized I could turn off all ads by turning off my data, and I refused to turn it back on, out of fear of incredible disappointment. But most importantly of all is the fact that the minigames are all fun. All 7 of them. You heard that right, the game only has 7 minigames. The first had 80 or something, the second had who knows how many, the third has 7. There are so little minigames in this that I am now going to go through each one individually to tell you my thoughts. That's how few there are. Pyramid run, press to jump and avoid obstacles. Flying fiasco, hold down to go up, don't hit the airplane-sized birds. Snow safari, tap to change directions. This game's about safety. Culinary chaos, tap to hit stuff, don't overmiss the fruit or hit the electronics. This one's my favorite because when the beans die, they always ragdoll and manage to fly out the window. I love giving them silly screams when they do. Pyramid slide, have you ever played Subway Surfers before? Yeah, this is worse. Castle Catastrophe, it's alright actually. And Rifty Rapid, it's f***ing Snow Safari again. That's it. That's everything this game has in terms of actual gameplay. They had other games in the past, but they removed it in updates. And the worst part is that all these minigames are things other mobile games have done before. It's like they just browsed the App Store's free section for ideas. These games are just endless tapathons where you see how long you can last with a very simple concept. It gets old. Fast. And to be honest, it would probably get old in the first game. But the thing about that is that those games were short, random, and there was enough of them that it always kept you on your toes. This game has 7, and it just goes on forever until you're bored, and then you move on to the next, and then that's it. And not a single one of those games has anything to do with the supposed theme of the series, teaching safety. This was the single thing that annoyed me the most about this game while researching. The first 2 games put the beans in scenarios that encourage people to be safe in the environment that they were featured in. The specifics of the minigames may not make sense, but in the eyes of a child, which, let's be honest, this game is aimed at, the sort of wacky cartoon antics are a good way of instilling the knowledge that these things that the beans are doing are things that you shouldn't do. What is this teaching children? Oh, well, next time I'm in a f***ing pyramid, I'll be sure to tread lightly. Get this, the game still has the safety pledge at the beginning. I solemnly swear not to do dumb things around trains. This safety pledge has been in all 3 games since the first. But why though? Because besides the fact that this game implies that you travel between worlds on trains, this game has nothing to do with train safety. You can't even say it's a theme. But despite all that, despite my disappointments, despite everything I've said so far, it's fine. They all are, really. Not spectacular, not grandiose or anything. They're all just fine. Which is disappointing, because the game wasn't just fine at one point. I know I ragged on these games a lot, but I don't actually dislike any of them. They're just a bunch of simple minigame collections plagued with ads, which is about all you can expect from mobile these days. It's like I said, it's fine, but it doesn't feel like Dumb Ways to Die. Also, there's a Dumb Ways to Die Junior edition, but if I'm paying for that.